Welcome back to Greenside. I hope that you are ready to learn about two interesting topics. The first is the responsible wildlife tourism, and the second is the sustainable destination management. So, with that, I want to ask you one question. The question is, what do you think that is wildlife? Are animals and plants that grow independently of people. Something like they grow in natural conditions. Wild tourism is interaction with wild animals in their habitat, in their natural conditions. So it can be actively, like hunting or collection, or it can be passively, like watching or photography these animals. What is the impact that irresponsible wildlife tourism has on animals and conservation efforts? These practices often have substantial negative animal welfare and conservation impacts. Some examples that irresponsible wildlife tourism has on animals are like changing their natural behavior, growing stress, and contamination.
Extreme restraint, limited ability to socialize with each other, and participating in performances would require a harmful training and a stressful interaction with public.
With that, I have an example about these horrible things that happen with irresponsible wildlife tourism. So it is an elephant, and I will call her Sophie. Sophie was working in a sanctuary in Bangkok, Thailand, and with the irresponsible wildlife tourism, she has a lot of consequence. She has a gaping red wound at her temple, and also she had a broken leg. So imagine an elephant with a broken leg.
Is just one example of many others that animals happen because irresponsible wildlife tourism. We must create awareness. And also, we must take care of animals.
The benefits of responsible wildlife tourism for local communities and economies. Well, they will have a better community for residents. Also, they will have works, and with that, they will be more creative. Some principles and ways to be responsible with wildlife tourism are keep your distance because they need their space, resist the urge to feed. If we want that this world will be safe, we need to take care all the things, the little things, and we need to take care the special things that we have here. So the wildlife are are something that we have to enjoy but responsible. If we didn't enjoy responsible, it can be dangerous for ourselves and it can be dangerous for the animals that are here to be safe, and we need to appreciate that animals are here, so we need to have awareness, and we need to always in our life we need to enjoy the all the things but responsible. So it's important to do responsible wildlife tourism.
Wildlife is something which man cannot construct. Once it's gone forever. Man can rebuild a pyramid, but he can rebuild ecology or a giraffe.
Now my classmate Jorlin will be talk about a little more about this topic, like challenges and some solutions, examples, rules and principles, and it's an important topic to learn. So we continue with Jorlin.
Hello everyone, thank you Genesis. As she said, let me tell you about the best responsible practices in wildlife tourism. Some rules that we need to know are a safe distance. This rule is vital and quite essential to follow the instructions about how close you can approach wild animals. Always remember, doesn't matter how big or small the animal is. You should never comment. You can observe them safely while keeping yourself and the animals too. The other rule is don't call out. Please don't call out or whistle at wild animal to get their attention. These animals usually do an activity or rest. For this reason, these noises can be irritating for them. Remember, you are in their space. The other rule is leave the mother and her baby alone. If you discover a baby with its mother, please take a quiet step back, because these animals can perceive you as threat to her and become extremely violent. The other rule is don't leave behind waste. It's essential that you be aware of garbage or waste. We must come on protecting the environment more carefully. All the trash can harm the ecosystem of animals, and if they consume this trash, it can be hurt. Don't feed them. It's essential to avoid giving any food to the wildlife. It can potentially hurt them and significantly impact in their diets. It's better to save your food when you are in the nature. Another point that I would like to share with you is about some examples of responsible wildlife tourism in Italy. For example, the first one is support the local economy. Local restaurants, souvenirs, local markets can be visited by foreigners. The second one is avoid taking natural souvenirs. You could be used the natural ecosystem. However, you can visit the local store for souvenirs. Another point is don't bring them home. For example, leave the seashells and birds in their environment. In some countries, they are protective as other kind of animals. Seashells are the most common product that people usually take from beaches. But this practice is not allowed in some countries. Why? Because they provide some homes for animals like hermit crabs and others. But these animals may be killed and overgeared for their shelf for jewelry and souvenirs. And the other point is don't buy exotic animals like pets. Most exotic animals are taken from the wild and suffer or die long before they reach the pet store. Around 75% of the species die within their first year. Another point that I would like to share with you are some environmental programs. Between you and me, Costa Rica has some environmental sustainability projects. To illustrate, one of them is Botanical Garden Quest. These projects focus on the conservation of tropical plants in Paraíso de Cartago. Another one is a Butterfly Farm Conservation Quest. Is another project where volunteers work at a butterfly farm located just outside San Jose, with the main goals of reproducing, conserving, and exporting 20 different species of butterflies unique in Costa Rica. Another one is sea turtle conservation quest. Is one of the most famous activities in Costa Rica. Volunteers work at sea turtle conservation projects around Costa Rica. Which projects sea turtle needs ground from human purchase and beach eruption. With this topic, we want to create awareness of how essential it is to take care of wildlife. Due to the world becoming more accessible, the fears of extinction continue to grow. About 17% of the Earth surface and less than 3% of the ocean are protected. Finally, we have the challenges in solution of wildlife. tourism practices. The first one is deforestation and habitat loss. This is one of the main threats of biodiversity, resulting in a habitat loss and fragmentation, making it difficult for wildlife to move and survive. This issue as well contributed to climate change due to changes in the temperature and rainfall patterns. Another one is tourism pressure. As the title says, tourism can contribute to habitat loss and fragmentation by construction tourism infrastructure and increase human activity. Additionally, tourism can create pollution and waste and disturbance to wildlife. Another one is climate change is a global problem that is effective ecosystem around the world. This can cause changes in temperature and precipitation patterns, affecting the distribution and abundance of plant and animal species. In conclusion, nowadays exists a hope in the future. We can get a better world through the continued health of the community and our effort in conservation. Now my partner Davy is going to explain more about another topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Jorling. I believe that it's essential to know this kind of information about wildlife. Moreover, I would like to share some strategies um, for sustainable destination management. And you will ask, what are they? Well, they are economic and social contributions that allow tourism to become one of the most important or essential factors for destinations. Furthermore, its sustainability is attractive for both decision makers and stakeholders. In addition, the industry's rapid growth over the last decade has created awareness, and the rapid growth um, started a competition between destinations, trying to attract more trying to attract more tourism, um, only to boost their tourism numbers. Moreover, what are some ways to implement sustainable practices in tourist destinations? Well, sustainable tourist destinations can use renewable energies sources like solar and wind power to reduce their environmental impact. I think Costa Rica is a great example of this. Now what they are trying to implement more ways to have more ways to have like sustainable energy around the country. However, recycling and waste reduction programs can be implemented to reduce the amount of waste sent to the landfills. In addition, local businesses can be supported by providing them easy and fast access to contracts and permits, something that it will be great for small businesses. For example, here in Costa Rica we'll call them pymes. Sorry. Education is another factor that can have a massive impact of visitors on visitors by educating visitors about the importance of sustainable practices and how they can make a difference. Moreover, the tourism industry is impacted by sustainable tourism that benefits the environment and local communities. That is important to that is why it is so important to have sustainable tourism practices. Moreover, tourist destinations create positive, meaningful, and unique experience for visitors. Um, while at the same point and time, sorry, at the same time, protecting the environment and local culture by providing this new and unique experience with sustainable tourism. In addition, some visitors who experience sustainable tourism destinations are often more satisfied with their trip, since they impact the environment and local community. Furthermore, sustainable tourism practices can help to conserve natural resources and protect wildlife, something that Jolene mentioned before, and it is so important to have into account. Moreover, also we can reduce the impact of the typical tourism on the environment. In addition, sustainable tourism can create new economic opportunities for local communities by helping them at attracting more visitors and boost their sales. Nevertheless, enhancing social development creates jobs, improve education, and reduce poverty. Something that it is quite common in these kind of places. Overall, sustainable tourism is a win-win for everyone. It benefits the environment, local communities, and visitors. Finally, if we want to ensure that the tourism industry is sustainable for the long term, we must adopt these new practices and sustainable practices right now. Well, guys, I hope with this information you could understand better this topic about sustainable practices. Um, I hope with this information you learned something new. But stay here. My coworker Diana will explain a little bit about other points and facts of this topic. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.
Hey everybody, thank you for continuing watching this video. We are so excited today because we have a new topic. This is ecotourism, and that now that my partners have been explaining a lot about it, let me add more information. Let's start with the definition of ecotourism. If I want to define in simple words what ecotourism is, or if I want to explain to somebody else what is that, let me tell you that is just the responsible travel to natural areas. For example, rivers, mountains, and so on, that conserve the environment and also help to the well-being of local communities. Let me tell you something. If you go trekking to a mountain, what you are doing is not ecotourism, because you can go there, but if you are not taking care of the environmental, or you are not doing the correct practices or conserve that environment, what you are doing is just ecology tourism. So remember that it's necessary to know about those terms and concepts. And because even though this is a term that has been heard for so many years, about 4 years, this is still misunderstood by so many people. That's why it is important. On the other hand, we have the resources. Let me tell you some of them: air, water, land, minerals, petroleum. However, not all of them are renewable. So you can imagine if we don't take the correct practices for taking care of them, or for reducing these, for example, air pollution, or reducing the use of plastic, for example, to take care of our environment, it will destroy. It is destroying our environment. The next point is so important, and it is ecotourism management. A good ecotourism management is a tool. Is a tool to guide the development of tourism in the protected areas. To say the least, it is important that people that really know, or it has to be done by people that really know the area. For example, even science, or those biologists, people that really know about the problems that are in the area. Also, the communities help a lot. This is basically, or the purpose of this is using less resources or reducing the ones that are wasting. I would like to say as well that the main purpose that you can imagine is to decrease pollution, decrease waste, and to stop harming our nature, as deforestation and so on. If you want to go to, or you want to try ecotourism, try to go to a place that you can plant trees, and also a lot of things that might help to the nature, and you will find a lot about it. Well, there's a lot to visit for, and we can create a lot of conservation initiatives, and we by ourselves can do as well so many things for the environment. Let's move on to the benefits about ecotourism and a good ecotourism management. Well, it educates the travelers and the locals, because we cannot deny that every time we go to those places we learn something new, and that's why we have to be awareness about the environmental, and why or how we can do something different for it. Secondly, it helps to us to gain money, and it is important to use the resources correctly. So when we learn how to use it, how to reduce it, we are also, well, not only helping the environment, but also helping our economy. Third, it promotes the conservation. As I told you, when we go to those places, we learn from them. So I know that it's essential to change our minds and change our practices, because in that way we can save more the environment. It combats climate change. We know that for so many time we hadn't done the things we do now, that we are already awareness about what we are doing. So we hope that these actions we're doing combat the climate change. If it provides locals a source of income, due to it can fight with poverty and empower local indigenous communities by creating employment opportunities. This is the last one, but I know that there are a lot of benefits about it, and it is that and incentivizes maintenance of attraction. That means that enhances biodiversity and also preserve the resources. I am pretty sure that we as visitors would like to give something back to the places we visit. So don't hesitate in helping those communities, or in visiting in those places where ecotourism. Let's move on to the next point, where we are making solutions for the environment. So in case you have forgotten, let me tell you about so many things you need to do, or practices you need to take into account if you want as well to reduce water, waste, air pollution, and electricity. Those points are so important, so let's get it started. First, practices or things you need to change. Maybe it's to change or to avoid using bottles of plastic and try to use reusable bottles. As well, it will be essential to use any other kind of material such as glass. Another thing I would like to add is if you have clothes that you are not using anymore, you can donate those clothes to people in need. It will be a good decision. I already told you that you might use reusable bottles, but let me tell you that you can use as well reusable bags. And stop asking in the grocery store about one bag more, and let's use the ones that you already have. One of the most important is to recycle and also to reuse and reduce. We can reduce and recycle, and also we can take our garbage to the center that they will classify in the correct order, and they will make the reuse. Secondly, energy. And you might think, how can I reduce energy? And I know there are many practices to do, but let me remind you some of them. For example, if you are not using your appliances, unplug it. Also, if you are not using the light, turn off the power sources or the switch. Next is water. If you go to a hotel or something, try not to use more water than you need, and try to take shorter waters. And also, it's better to take a shower than a bath because we waste more water when you take a bath. And there are many other ways. As well, if you go to a river or to an ocean, try not to use toxic substances to go in. It is important to know. Next is air pollution. How we can reduce the air pollution. Well, so many time ago, my father used to burn up the garbage, and I didn't know that it is really harmful for the environment. Also, there are so many people that smoke, and it also really bad for the environment. Either can start fire in a forest maybe and kill so many animals. And last but not least, I would like to finish this video with some tips if you want to try ecotourism. I'm gonna give you 4 tips. First, do your research. Before signing up of this activity, ecotourism activity, first check the reviews and see what is the impact of the environmental that they are doing. Respect the wildlife. Remember that are some animals that they don't like to be touched. So try to go to a place that you can see the nature and the animals and enjoy it, but not to abuse of them. Also, don't pick the plants without permission or try to have environmental souvenirs. It's better to leave the place better than you found it. Absorb the culture. We might learn a lot of things about them, so take the opportunity, take advantage of that opportunity and learn